Hello, good crowd. I am so excited. We have just such a special opportunity today. We have with us Mohammed Faisal. He's the CEO and founder of the Money Hub. It's a nonprofit organization working with kids in New York City schools to help them learn, financial literacy. Really, potentially saving lives is not a big exaggeration. So stick around. You don't want to miss this episode.
Welcome to the Your Mark on the World show with your champion of social good, Devin D. Thorpe.
Please support the sponsors who made this episode possible, including Johnson & Johnson's Caring Crowd and GoodCrowd.School. Mohammed, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, the pleasure is all ours. We thank you very much for making the time for this. So you're taking courses, financial literacy courses to mostly high school age kids in New York City. Tell us how you came to think that was a problem that needed to be solved.
So it started for me very early on, like around 2007, right around the housing crash and everything. So as you guys may know, the property prices in New York City have always been high, but it has seen a huge boom from right around 2005 to now. And me and my parents and my siblings, we were living in Queens, New York City. And the neighborhood that we were staying in, Astoria, Queens, it saw a huge boom in the real estate. And then just the prices just skyrocketed. The owners, the landlords, the places that we stayed in, they just kept hiking the rent and stuff. It got to a point where we got priced out of our neighborhood. Now, my father, being an immigrant from Bangladesh, he had no idea about the credit system here and what credit score was really used for. And then my mom, she saw that, she built up her credit score, and with that, she was able to mortgage us our house in Jamaica, Queens, which is another part of Queens, but it's a little less expensive and was a little less affected by gentrification at the time, which was 2007, and we were able to put down a down payment on our first house, and that was crazy. I'll never forget that, knowing that we have a place that is not going to be taken away from us overnight, or that we're going to have to figure out a place to move or whatsoever. That also, on top of that, we were paying rent essentially to the bank towards an asset for ourselves, not just, paying rent to some guy that could just kick us out at any time without like us having any ownership in it whatsoever. So that was huge. And that was really the first time I got a taste of financial literacy. And then as I went along.
So it's a deeply personal experience.
Yes,
really.
Absolutely.
So how did you decide to translate that into a program? Tell us about the program that grew out of that epiphany.
So then as I went along, I went to college, starting 2011 at City College of New York in Harlem, New York. And I don't know if not too many people know, but Colin Powell actually went to that school, former Secretary of State. And as a way of giving back, he had donated a lot of money to the school to put all the social sciences under his name, as well as the business schools and stuff. And then he opened a few fellowship programs. And that was when I had looked into the Colin Powell Community Engagement Fellowship, which is they give you startup money and resources to start an idea that you submitted, a project plan. So essentially it's like, some sort of entrepreneurial idea. And that was right around when I met a professor and mentor of mine who's also a co-founder with me on the Money Hub, Glenn Patterson, and he was teaching entrepreneurship in the school. And it was, the first time that I was really exposed to how people that I've looked up to came to be as an entrepreneur and things like that. Somebody like Bill Gates, somebody like Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos, and then really learning the whole entrepreneurial process, as well as it was a turning point in my life as well, because I went into the school doing electrical engineering. I thought I wanted to be an engineer, but as I got into my major, I saw that A, I sucked at it, and B, I didn't really enjoy myself. So combine that, that was a perfect storm for right then and there to have like a soul searching moment, which was my junior year of college. And that was when I realized, I've always wanted to help people. And one of the problems that I saw in my neighborhood and in other neighborhoods across major cities as well as rural areas was a need for better understanding of how to manage your money and how to really thrive in this financial institutions and things like that in the country. So I combined that with my desire to build something entrepreneurial. So with that, I applied to that fellowship, and I had luckily received it. And then they gave me $5,000 to get started, and then I put that towards part of that towards my tuition, and then remainder of that to starting up, building a team, building a website, building a program. And what we started out doing, we kind of tweaked it a little bit, but our idea was to go to organizations that already have the audience or kids that are going there, rather than going out and looking for random kids, and not being able to, like, have a space, having to like invest money into a physical space, and then being able to build a rapport with the parents and the people in the neighborhood, who don't know us. How are they going to trust us with their kids if they don't really know us? I know I wouldn't if I didn't know somebody, right? So then our idea was to go through organizations that are serving the youth already. Before we go to schools, we figured it'd be easier to go through after-school programs such as Boys and Girls Club. Boys and Girls Club of Queens is one of our partners, and it's been great because it's going to give us leverage to then go nationwide.
Wow, that's great. That collaboration model is really powerful. Tell us a little bit about the program itself now. What do you do with the program?
So we created our own curriculum, and then we created technology to kind of aid alongside of it. So our curriculum consists of anything financial literacy related, and kind of structuring that around a kid's dream. And what do they dream? What do they aspire to be? What do they want to do or want to have? And then kind of building towards that. So our first workshop that we do, so we have a workshop model, about 45 minutes to an hour. Usually it goes longer because kids keep asking us questions. They want to keep it going. They don't want it to end. So that's been great marker for us of like the success that we've had. So our first one, Intro Personal Finance, we teach about goal setting, budgeting, and then saving. And so the main thing about that is learning the difference between short-term goal and long-term goals, and then being able to apply that towards where the situation that you're at now. How could you stack up short-term goals to eventually lead to your long-term goals? Like we don't ask kids like, what do you want to be when you're older and things like that. I feel like that doesn't necessarily, translate to them maybe giving an honest answer. We don't want them to fall into the whole thing of like, what their parents value or what maybe society values. We want to find out what you really want to be. Like we've created such an environment where kids can be honest about what they want to be or how they want to be it. So, that they open up about being YouTubers, about being musicians, things like that, and we're not here to judge, and we're trying to tell them that nobody else's judgment matters. It's about what you want to be and how you want to be there. We're trying to help you get that map, how you want to be there. So once you get that, once you have your goals, we then focus on turning it into a SMART goal, which is an acronym. So that kind of like turns it from a dream into something bigger, into a plan. And then finally, we tie that to a budget. We teach you about budgeting, but then it's budgeting around your dream. So how can you try to pursue your dreams and goals? In the meantime, be able to still have a roof over your head and food in your belly while you're doing that, So then all that tying down to, okay, so now that you have your budget, your money that you need to live the lifestyle that you want to live, what are the money that you're going to have left over that you can put towards savings, saving towards your goal. Let's say you want to become a coder and things like that. Well, you're going to need, obviously a computer, things like that. You're going to also need to maybe go to a coding class or coding certification program. How much does that cost? Do you need to save towards that? That's great. Now, you also need to save towards an emergency fund? Seeing as how what I've gone through recently, that's been very important. So now I kind of carry that story with me to the kids that I go to see and things like that. Telling them about how my life got turned upside down at the beginning of the year. And I still haven't been able to really go out and work. So, like the fact that I was able to save a little bit has helped me get through it, as well as family help and things like that, and just smart planning. And that's something that I try to tell to the kids. And now, I'm a living embodiment of that, like if I didn't plan properly, I've been in a horrible situation, because when you suffer a brain injury, it takes a long time to recover from that. It's not just about getting out of the hospital. It's about then doing therapy. It's about then following up things like that, and making sure that you're back to the way that you want to be before you could really move forward. So emergency saving and the percentage that you want to put towards that. And then also, like, do you value security? Do you value assets? So you want to have a saving for that. You should also maybe think about traveling, things like that. We all say that, like, hey, we want to travel,
Excellent.
but one day, someday, but like, hey, if you start saving for it, you start putting money towards it, then that someday could be tomorrow or next month. You never know.
Yeah. Excellent. I mean, those budgeting skills are just super important. What kind of impact are you seeing with the students? You hinted that some of these students don't know much about financial literacy, don't know how budgets work, don't know how money works. What are you seeing?
So the biggest thing we're seeing that we have an environment where they can open up and ask questions without feeling like they're going to be judged or be made fun of. I feel like one of the things that I've experienced that I'm sure other kids experience as well is that parents, when they have a financial woe or something goes wrong financially, it's a teaching moment to take. It's like, hey, I messed up, I can do better, and this is how I'm doing better at it. I feel like if parents really took that opportunity to do that, to talk to their kids about that, that would set them up big time. Better than if you were to have uh, like a class it would still be better than that, 100%, because kids appreciate it coming from their mom or their dad or brothers and sister over some teacher. So that's one of the main things that we kind of teach them in there. We try to tell them that this is a good environment, and then whatever you learn here, go talk to your parents about it and things like that. So that's been one. Another great thing that we've noticed is that kids really caring about what credit cards are for and what credit score is and how to build towards that, and a lot of questions about assets. What are assets? Really learning the difference between what a car is and what a house is, and which one's more valuable in the long
Right.
run, and how you can use an asset to leverage towards getting a loan to build your business or your dream or your idea, whatever you may have.
Yeah, all of us are tempted to spend too much on cars and too little on houses, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, one of the things that is interesting about your experience over the last few years is that you had a nasty accident. How has that impacted your work?
Yeah, so beginning of this year in January, I was in a car accident and it had caused me to suffer a traumatic brain injury. I was hospitalized for 3 months, and then after being released, I've been doing physical therapy even till this point, and I've had to follow up a lot, and I'm getting pretty close to walking, but my arm is still kind of behind. So the right side of my body has been affected, and my speech was also affected. So that has impacted me in a lot of ways because we had to kind of like slow down a little bit on our workshop model and things like that. Because a big part of what I was doing was, as a CEO, I was also building relationship with other organizations and bringing us in to do so. I mean, we have two major partners, one being Boys and Girls Club of Queens, the other being Brotherhood Sister Soul, which is in Harlem. And it's an organization that works with all age groups, but mostly high school kids from beginning to end of high school. And their goal is to make sure they stay out of trouble, that they graduate, that they go to college, and that they get to experience things that a lot of inner city kids don't experience. One, their major thing is that their seniors, I believe, get a chance to go take a trip to Brazil, which is great. Like seeing a place and traveling is so great for kids and for
Yeah.
anybody really. Um, so those are two of our major partners, as well as we're partnered with this organization out of the Department of Education. So the DOE in New York City is the largest, or New York State is the largest of any state. And our idea is that our model, if we could perfect it here, we could then mimic it all across every state. So really that has taken a little bit of a hit just because I'm the leader of the organization, but my team
Sure.
has been able to step in and have really managed our relationship with our partners, as well as some of the things that we already had planned. We were able to execute on them. So I'm very impressed by my team on that end. But then also made me realize, that like when you build an organization as an entrepreneur, you got to remember to build in a way where like you could be taken off of it and it will still function perfectly. So it helped me kind of see where some of the cogs are that we need to fix and things like that.
Sure.
So,
Well,
and then one of the other big things was that, like going through something like this was just being able to like document my journey through it has been very helpful for a lot of people. And seeing, perseverance and just being able to stay gritty and being mentally tough through it is something that it's an undervalued skill. That's something that everybody should have, because once you have that, you can apply that to anything in life, essentially. So I've had some great, outpouring of support in LinkedIn specifically. There's this one video where I'm walking with my harness on for the first time, and that video has almost been viewed 1 million times. It has 27,000 likes, almost 1,500 comments, and a lot of people have reached out to me via message asking if I could share that video with them because they want to show it to their mom or their brother who's suffering through similar instances, to give them motivation to keep going. So I was like, wow, this is crazy, because like at first I was like, I didn't want to look like I'm looking for sympathy by putting that out there, and two, I didn't want to, I felt kind of embarrassed because like there's a video of me like where I'm like, mumbling and things like that, because it was the first time I started talking in the hospital. But I feel like maybe, somebody's out there who's been in a similar situation or is currently in a similar situation, and then they could like, recover and get to the point where I'm at now or beyond. So I put that on my YouTube page, and I'm hoping people can follow that and kind of use that for inspiration on any aspect of life. So those are some of the main ones. And then also another thing, like going through it, I'm understanding and seeing the day-to-day financial issues that come up, So like just really planning for that gives me a story to tell the kids that I see, and others out there that I can share, and hopefully it'll help them, plan and be ready mentally to get through whatever issues that come up.
what are you most proud of having accomplished, Mohammed?
I'm the most proud of showing kids that are in my workshops that they could achieve their dreams, and that if they plan for it, they can all believe it. Like, I don't ever go there and a kid tells me their dreams and I'm like, oh, this is too wild, like, because I feel like encouragement is needed. Um, like the things that we see nowadays could have never been imagined 10 years ago, you know? So something that a kid is working on now, or even thinking of working on, that's something that we should all encourage. So that's what I try to be, that maybe I sparked one mind in my workshops to then pursue his or her dream, and make it into reality. Like, like that's something that I've experienced through my journey, and that I wish I had more support of when I was younger. So I try to pass that on to kids, and that's something that I'm very proud of.
So, Mohammed, what is your superpower?
My superpower is being able to relate to kids, very young kids. Like when I talk to kids, I talk to them like as if I'm their peer. I'm never talking to them like I'm looking down upon them. You know, I never like demand things from kids other than excellence for themselves. That's all that I care about. Like, and that I believe is my superpower. Being able to be relatable to kids goes a long way in inspiring them to do what they never thought were imagined.
Oh, that's cool. Well, Mohammed, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. Before you go, would you take just a minute and tell people how they can learn more about your work, how they can learn more about the Money Hub and connect with you personally?
Yes, absolutely. So if you want to learn more about the Money Hub, please check out our website, moneyhubnyc.org, and all our social media, as we post almost regularly on there about any work, any advances that we're making, specifically the technologies that we're working on. So they're all at Money Hub NYC. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn as well. And then my personal, you can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn at Mohammed Faisal. Same thing with YouTube, Mohammed Faisal. And then my Twitter and Instagram is at Mo underscore Faisal, Faisall. And one of the biggest things that we're working on right now, because our main thing is building technologies that make finance easier to learn for kids and easier to apply. So we have currently a testing app out. It's called The Money Hub, which is like a gamified version of learning things that you learn in the workshop and things like that. So that's one way that we test our kids without them even knowing that we're testing them. Our next thing that we're working on is a banking app. that we hope to partner with a major banking institution to apply and to use. So it'll be an app where you can put your goals and the goals that you have, and they'll turn to saving goals and things like
Oh,
that.
that's
And then
great.
your family members and thing, or anybody that who's a supporter can maybe contribute towards that. And then also it'll have a budgeting section on there where you can put your budget and have it right there on your phone. As well as, of course, the bank linking one. So like it'll come with a bank account. We hope to give it with a card as well,
Excellent.
which will then allow for you to have a saving account and a regular checking account right then and there. So you're already now online and doing banking. And then if we could work it out, we would like to also offer a credit building account for kids. So then that way they could also build up their credit score and be able to look through it and manage it.
Excellent. What a neat program. Well,
Thank you.
Mohammed, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. We wish you every success in your recovery from your accident and also in the great work you're doing with the Money Hub.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It was a pleasure being on here.
All righty. Let's do some good.
Yes, let's do it.
At Caring Crowd, we believe everyone has the power to make a difference. Through our crowdfunding platform for community health, we empower passionate people to drive real change. Whether you work for a nonprofit organization, volunteer, or want to get involved for the first time, you can post a campaign on Caring Crowd. Join us, because caring is where change begins.
At goodcrowd.school, 5% of what you pay to learn how to make a difference goes to nonprofits working to eradicate extreme poverty, improve global health, and reverse climate change by 2045. So when you take a course to learn how to change the world, you do change the world. Get started at goodcrowd.school today. Thanks for tuning in to the Your Mark on the World show, the Social Impact Podcast. Please subscribe via YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or Spotify.